Such a sad morning here in Newtown, Connecticut. I'm joined by Elizabeth Vargas in New York, and right behind me, the Sandy Hook Firehouse, where moms and dads came to learn about their children, many sleeping here through the night. And this headline from the Hartford Courant right here says it all. Our hearts are broken, speaking for so many Americans today. Over 20 little children dead, more adults died after the worst shooting ever at a grade school. Here is what we know right now.
Sandy Hook, the most deadly school shooting in not just America, but the world as we know it, and the most tragic at that, with a reported 26 deaths in connection with the Sandy Hook shooting, including 20 children and 6 educators. It's clear the Sandy Hook tragedy took quite the cultural and social impact on how we see our schools today. But what if I told you that the sick individual responsible for this horrific event was at one point making content on this website we call YouTube, and this sick individual, who would go down into infamy, would be known as Adam Lanza. So without further ado, let's take a deep dive into YouTube's most obscure psycho. Viewer discretion is advised. Born on the day of April 22nd of 1992 to Nancy and Peter Lanza, born in Kingston, New Hampshire, it was often reported in Adam's early life, from psychologists to doctors, as young as the age of 3, Adam would often show signs of developmental, communicative, and sensory issues, especially with age. Moving up from grade to grade, these problems would only continue to grow, such as at one point, in 2004, while attending Newton Middle School, it was said from Adam's mother that Adam was often overwhelmed with anxiety from the most simple things in school, such as noise and movement in class, in turn causing anxiousness and irritability, even to unforeseen events such as schedule changes and/or school assemblies, events that would make Adam's life that much more hellish. And come 2006, when Adam was 14, he would attend Newton High School, and surprisingly, it was often said from educators and students that Adam was very smart, but on the other hand, very antsy, nervous, and introverted. It was as well reported Adam had no close friends, and his anxiety would often be triggered via schoolwork and group projects. And come the year 2008, when by this point, Adam's anxiety and introvertedness was at an all-time high, along with the reported multiple anxiety attacks throughout the years, some resulting in a trip to the hospital. Adam was slowly weaned off of public school, where eventually, Adam would be homeschooled by his mother, Nancy. After achieving his GED, Adam was basically free to do whatever he wanted in life, due to his father, Peter Lanza, being the financial vice president for a company known as General Electric, and with it came a nice revenue flow. However, with it came a disconnect to the Lanza family, with it being reported that Peter Lanza would have to work ridiculous hours, both during Adam's and his older brother Ryan Lanza's childhood lives. And this did not help when come 2009, both of Adam Lanza's parents would divorce, for reportedly after 27 years of marriage, Nancy would cite an irrevocable breakdown of their marriage, when in turn, come 2009 of September, Nancy Lanza would finalize the divorce. However, this did not help Adam's bottom line, because with a lack of a father figure in Adam's life, this would arguably send him down a deeper hole of delusion and psychopathicness, where following, it was reported from the Yale Institute of Child Study that after multiple tests, Adam was diagnosed with Asperger's and OCD. However, if there was something that was a common in Adam's life, it was his love for guns. With it being reported from a young age, Adam would often be interested in the weapons and would commonly go on hunting trips and shooting practices with his father. And around this off-putting time in Adam's life, the internet was getting progressively popular and well-known day by day, and with it, a certain website we know and for the most part love, YouTube. In 1998, a book was released called Cultural Philistine, released by a man known as Sandy Hook. And you might be asking, what does this guy and his book have to do with YouTube, and even this video for that matter? Well, on the day of September 7th of 2011, a YouTube channel known as Cultural Philistine was created, and from the look of it, it definitely does seem like an off channel, with all the blacked out thumbnails and a YouTube icon. So what's the story behind this odd channel? Well, to start, on the day of September 13th of 2021, the channel was shut down by YouTube themselves, along with its reported 31 deleted videos. So what was the problem with this channel? Well, for our next clue, we have to take a deep dive into the channel's content to get a grasp on what the Cultural Philistine channel was all about. So let's take a snippet into one of these videos.
A lot of the antinatalists disparage people for not being able to see the pointlessness of their existence. And I'm actually closer to Greytex than I am to Gary, as strange as that may sound considering that I'm completely anti-life. I've always believed in personal meaning, whatever that means. It wasn't the realization that absolutely everything about me is a consequence of my environment that changed me. It was, well, I didn't really change that much, I've always been this way, but it was the realization that absolutely everything about me is not just personal meaning. It's that meaning itself is a scar. Basically everyone, whether or not they admit to it, think of life as being a tool that you can use to channel into some metaphysical plane of happiness, and that's why there are people who say, no matter how bad things get, at least I'm alive so that I can experience anything. But that's not how it is. Happiness and goodness and all of those synonymous words, they don't come from anywhere other than you. And by that I don't mean to sound like Professor Anton saying that you should work toward those things. I'm actually saying the complete opposite. It's not that you build happiness and goodness out of nothing using suffering as some ingredient to somehow make it more grand. What you create out of nothing is the suffering of not achieving what you want, not the happiness. There has never been a feral child who has said, sure, I like splashing in these.
I think it's clear that this channel is definitely disturbing, and I'm not just talking about some early 2000s YouTube horror creepy, but a creepy of true evil against humanity that doesn't have an entertaining undertone to it. But the thing is that creepy YouTube videos have been on the website since its inception, since 2005. So why was this channel in particular targeted? Well, as we would soon find out, our first piece of crucial evidence on why the shutdown of the Cultural Philistine channel would occur, along with the owner of the channel, when on the day of January 16th of 2014, it was reported that the Sandy Hook shooter, or who we know as Adam Lanza, would have a call-in with a radio host 1 year before the Sandy Hook shooting occurred. So let's take a look.
It's maybe very difficult for some people to listen to.
No, absolutely.
Just hearing his voice.
Absolutely. It truly is chilling, Kate. CNN hasn't been able to independently verify the voice heard from this radio show caller and that it's that of the Sandy Hook shooter. But the eerie audio from the Daily News might bring some insight into the mind of a young man not long before he went on that shooting rampage that shattered a nation. Is this the voice of Adam Lanza?
Some little thing he experienced was the last straw, and he was overwhelmed by the life that he had.
According to a report in the New York Daily News, it is. The cover story includes what is purported to be recently uncovered audio, recorded a year before the 20-year-old committed one of the deadliest mass murders in American history. The paper spoke to two classmates of Lanza who said it was him.
He didn't act really any differently than a human child would.
The audio obtained by the Daily News is from an Oregon College radio show called Anarchy Radio. The man the paper identifies as Lanza wanted to discuss the death of a domesticated chimp named Travis with radio host and self-proclaimed anarchist John Zerzan. In 2009, Travis was shot and killed by a police officer after he brutally mauled a Connecticut woman. The caller, who identifies himself as Greg, compares a violent chimp attack with that of a teenage mall shooter in an over 7-minute interview.
His attack can be seen entirely parallel to the attacks, random acts of violence that you bring up on your show every week. Committed by humans, which the mainstream also has no explanation for. And no. Actual human, I just don't think it would be such a stretch to say that he very well could have been a teenage mall shooter or something like that.
Zerzan doesn't know who the caller was, but remembers the call.
The voice is kind of odd, sort of robotic. And maybe he's trying to disguise his voice or something, I don't know.
According to a blogger cited by the Daily News, Lanza posted in an online forum under the username Smiggles, a name Sandy Hook investigators say he may have used in instant messages. In one 2011 post uncovered by the blogger, Smiggles wrote about calling into John Zerzan's radio show.
Wow, so where do we even begin? Well, first, I think it's clear that the voice between Cultural Philistine and Adam Lanza is definitely extremely similar, and it's also not just in the voice, but also in the ramblings of both Adam and Philistine. As mentioned, it was reported that 1 year before the Sandy Hook shooting occurred, Adam was heard on a radio station talking about shootings in an over 7-minute segment, while in the same mannerism and sharp way talking that we see in the Cultural Philistine channel. And keep in mind, as mentioned, while the Cultural Philistine channel was active from late 2011 to early 2012, on the day of December 11th of 2011, the radio call with Adam occurred. Now, if it isn't obvious, Cultural Philistine is Adam, and the Cultural Philistine channel / archive is a vast and disturbing archive of Adam's thoughts and opinions on life, death, and a multitude of other disturbing subjects, and it would probably take me a whole series on researching, decoding, and deciphering all of Adam's thoughts and ideals on whatever the hell he's talking about in these videos. So if you want an in-depth review and series on Adam's channel, please let me know in the comments. But if there is something that investigators and internet armchair detectives discovered fairly soon after Adam's massacre at Sandy Hook, online, it was reported that Adam had an online persona known as Smiggles, where it was often reported that in chat logs he would go into depth about his odd feeling of schizophrenia and weird ramblings into dark topics and thoughts, much what we heard from Adam on the radio and his channel, with him starting the page on December 30th of 2009, around the same time the divorce of Adam's parents would occur. And as mentioned, with the divorce of Adam's parents, this sent him into a spiral of insanity. So I think it's clear that Adam's online ramblings go back a lot further than what we would think, with Adam reportedly having an inactive Facebook page called Fuck Comments. So I think I'm starting to notice an odd pattern in between Adam's odd appearances in media, but why in the first place did it take over 10 years for the Cultural Philistine channel to be discovered and shut down compared to Adam's other media and online pages that were all fairly discovered and shut down in a short period of time? Well, as it would soon be discovered, in the search of the Lanza home, Adam had made sure to intentionally go out of his way to destroy any trace of his online activity.
Connecticut State Police on Friday released thousands of pages of documents related to the Newtown shooting investigation. It included hours of video and audio recordings. Among them, a 30-minute walkthrough of shooter Adam Lanza's home taken just hours after he killed 20 children and 6 adults at Sandy Hook Elementary School. In one clip, the detective walks into an office area. A single loose bullet sits on the carpet. Next, a computer hard drive, apparently laid out on a desk, taken apart and scratched. A look inside a nearby closet reveals a gun case with a rifle inside and a large amount of ammunition.
It should also be noted that within the Lanza household, Nancy Lanza was found lifeless in her bed after it was discovered she was shot multiple times with a .22 caliber rifle while in her sleep. So it's clear that on the day of December 14th of 2012, Adam had finally snapped, and the first and last non-school shooting victim would happen to be Adam's own mother, Nancy. However, within the eerie wreckage of the Lanza household in Adam's room, he had destroyed his whole computer setup along with all the internals of his computer. But why, you might be asking? Because just hours later, at Sandy Hook, when law enforcement was closing in, while Adam was at the school, more than likely either to not get killed by the cops or spend the rest of his life in jail, at 9:50 a.m., Adam would take the easy way out, and in turn, ending the massacre, once and for all. But what I find so strange is if Adam knew he was a dead man, or at the very least knew he was never going to see his house, let alone his computer again, why would he go out of his way to destroy it completely? Well, theories obviously fluctuate from the hard drive having CP on it to it being a part of a multi-government cover-up that has incriminating evidence in a plot to push extreme gun control regulation across the United States. Or something like that. Point is, there are a lot of theories on why Adam would destroy his hard drive, despite him more than likely realizing he would be his last day on Earth. But with it being reported that the FBI was unable to crack the contents of the hard drive, they took it to a decoding expert center, and what little evidence they could find on the hard drive was disturbing to say the least. It was discovered that within the beaten hard drive, Adam Lanza reportedly had an odd interest in pedophilia, and what's weird is that on the Cultural Philistine channel, Adam made what seemingly is an 8-part series talking about that subject. And don't acknowledge the odd skip between parts, because for some reason, that's what Adam titled the series episodes. However, that brings me into my own theory on why Adam Lanza destroyed his whole drive to bits. What if as some type of twisted way to leave a legacy behind in the Cultural Philistine channel, Adam would make sure to destroy and permanently break any and everything relating to him and his YouTube channel? And believe it or not, this type of scenario isn't completely out of the question, such as sickeningly iconic American killer duo Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, who really sparked the school shooter epidemic, were often said in manifestos and documentation that both Eric and Dylan would both try to start a revolution of school killers, and unfortunately, throughout the years, cases like this would occur involving multiple mentally ill young individuals, and the same could easily be said about Adam Lanza, because much like Eric and Dylan, it was said in logs from Adam he had quite the obsession with Columbine and the perpetrators around it. Point is, I think that it's a very plausible theory that Adam Lanza went so far out of his way to destroy his hard drive in legatorial hopes of not having his channel discovered, or at the very least, so soon in hopes of doing what Eric and Dylan did, just in a more digital era. But at the same time, we still have to acknowledge Adam Lanza was an extremely mentally ill person who we don't 100% know what his intentions were with destroying his hard drive, or even what his Cultural Philistine channel was all about, and even the end goals of the channel were about. But hey, that's just a theory, a YouTube theory, and as usual, I hope you all have a great day. Hey everyone, so, in all seriousness, at the end of this video, I wanted to kind of spread some awareness to the Sandy Hook Foundation, because, this was a pretty serious video if you think about it and everything. I know we like to have a lot of fun on this channel, but I wanted to support their foundation. There's going to be a link in the description. If you do donate, send me send me some proof via Twitter or X. No, this is not a way for me to promote my X. Just just a way to spread some support for this cause that's going on. Like I said, this was a very, very serious event that happened. I know my channel motto is discussing the universe of our internet, but truth be told, this video went a little bit more beyond the internet, into real life, that real life events occur, and this was a pretty serious one that real people were affected by. So if you do decide to go, support that cause, down in the link in the description, please send me proof for a shout out. I have no other way of kind of doing that. I'm not obviously that big of a creator, so that shout out might not mean anything to y'all, but just at the end of the day, I would much like it if y'all just took some time to donate. It could be a penny for all I care. Just donating to that cause would be much appreciated for me, because like I said, this was a real event that real people were affected by, and that's kind of the what I wanted to let y'all know. As all my outros go, I've been Skipper Son, and I hope you all have a great and safe day.